What is up, everyone? How's everyone doing out there today? Welcome back to Wildcat MTG. Today we continue our Master and Remaster May. I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to do a Ravnica Remastered box opening today. So, obviously shocklands are a big deal in this, but a lot of the singles have rebounded really nicely, both at rare and mythic level. And then there's obviously, I don't say obviously, but there's some really good uncommons in this set as well. So, thought it'd be fun. Let's get this thing started. For those of you who are unfamiliar, what we're going to do is we're going to open this thing up. Each one of our 4 participants is going to get 3 packs. We're going to open those packs in rounds of 3, adding up the mana values for all the rares and all the mythics. And at the end of this thing, the person with the highest total mana value and the person with the lowest total mana value amongst rares and mythics are each going to get 1 additional pack, a collector pack of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. We'll set those off to the side here. In the event of a tie, we will take the highest mana value mythic as the first tiebreaker, the highest mana value rare as a second tiebreaker, and if we need a third tiebreaker, we will have a jousting contest. Or we will simply go down the line with the highest mana value rare until there is a tie, no more. One of those two things. Yeah, so the big appeal on, shocklands are a big appeal for Ravnica in general, but the big appeal on the collector boxes is that they did not skimp on the shocklands. The average number of shocklands tends to be around 7 if memory serves in these boxes. Kind of like 5 is the low, but I've seen as high as 10. And shocks are holding up incredibly well. Additionally, as I kind of mentioned, a lot of rebound, some really good rebound. There's some really nice multipliers on some of the anime stuff in this set. So hopefully we have a fun opening. Good luck, everybody, and let's have some fun. Ezra, start us off. There is the potential for serial numbered cards as well. I should say that. That's a thing. Okay, here we go. How about we start off with a anime borderless foil Protean Hulk. That's not bad. That's a nice little mythic. Also a 7 mana value. Pretty sweet. So anime foil mythic right off the bat. Next up, Spark Double. Nice rare into that's a borderless Spark Double. Pretty good rare. Followed by a Supreme Verdict. And another mythic is Karn, the Great Creator. I almost forgot about Karn. Karn is such a menace. All right, that is a pack foil Karn. Oh, retro foil Utopia Sprawl. I know Utopia Sprawl got a reprint, but the retro foils, I'm pretty sure this is like a $7 or $8 uncommon as just a retro foil. So that's pretty good. All right, off to a good start here. Sleeve these up, add up some mana values. What do we got going on here? 7, 11, 15, 19, 4, 8, 12, 19 it is. All right, Steve, you're up next. Other big hits, I mean, actually, honestly, at the rare level, you have Deathrite Shaman, you have Crypt Ghast. We also have Cyclonic Rift as a mythic. There's a couple other really good banger mythics in here as well. Start off with a Prime Speaker Zagana in the Retro Frame foil. That is a 6 mana value. But another mythic, it's Ral Zarek. Ral, not exactly what we want to see, especially not as one of our animes. But it is a mythic nonetheless, a 4 mana value. Packrat. I have love for Packrat. Great card. Retro Frame Packrat. That is a 2. And we conclude with a Legion War Boss. That is a 3. Totally lost. Retro Frame Guildgate. Retro Frame or Grazer is probably a couple of bucks. Okay, we will sleeve up Ral. Let's see what we got going on here for mana value. So we have ourselves 4 plus 6, that's 10, 13, 15, right? 5 plus 6, 11, 15 it is. Shockland count, still 0 though. Let us change that. Alice, my slime. You are up next. Here we go. That's the first. Whoa, hey, that's a heck of a pull. Retro Frame Foil Steam Vents. I love it. That is nice. Typically, you get about 1 Retro Frame foil per box, so that is not insignificant. Very nice pull. 0 mana value, but a heck of a pull right there. Retro Frame Foil Steam Vents. Into a Cloudstone Curious. Borderless Cloudstone Curio. That's a 3. Into an Infernal Tutor, not bad, a 2. And Unbreakable Formation as the pack foil. Crackling Drake, nice. It is possible, by the way, that's why I keep checking as well. I also go through Mayhem Devil, nice uncommon, that there is in one of these slots another, typically about 1 per box, another Shockland. So I will sleeve up that Steam Vents right away, as well as the Curio. Okay, what do we got going on here? We have ourselves a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Vincent, you are up next. First Shockland of the box out of the way. Start off with a Ghostway. Retro Frame Foil Ghostway. Actually, not a bad little pull there. That's not bad. That's a 3. Into, Borderless Watery Grave. Let's go. We like Shocklands. Very nice. Watery Grave Borderless. Into a Gigantoplasm. That is a 4. And another mythic back here is Karlov of the Ghost Council. I do like Karlov as well. That is a 2. And then Raptor, Cloak, Ledgewalker. I think it's in that slot if it's there, because it's like a mana fixing slot or something like that. Okay, so Karlov, we'll sleeve up it just as a mythic. A lot of this stuff I'll sleeve up before we send it out. All right, so we've got ourselves a 2, 4. Oh, no, let's sleeve up the Grave too. We'll sleeve up the Shocks. I think even a base Temple Garden Shock, I think is like $13 right now. So not Borderless, not that's like the lowest Shock. All right, so 2, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Woo. And I'm going to throw the Water Grave on top. All right, so after the first round here, Ezra in the high with a 19, 15, Steve with a 15, Alice in the low with an 8, and Vincent right behind with a 9. Pretty good first round. Let's keep it going. Ezra, back to you. Start off with a Mizzix Mastery Retro Frame Foil. That is a 4. Followed by a Hellkite Tyrant. Nice. Borderless Hellkite Tyrant. That is a 6 for mana value as well. Sweet art on that. Do love that. Seal of the Guild Pack is a 5. This is another high mana value pack, Ezra. That's getting it done. And Birds. Birds kind of creeping its way back up. I think Birds is back up to $7, $8 just as a, I come from a time when Birds were $12, $13 or something like that. And then they got reprinted a bunch. And then you could find them for $4 or $5. Making their way back up. Guildgate, Retro Frame Guildgate, Retro Frame Foil Guildgate. And that will do it there. So we have ourselves a 4 plus 6, that's 10, 15, 16, right? 6, 12, 16, yeah. That will put you at a 35 for the moment. Steve. Chasing Ezra for the high by 20 right now, 20 below. Rest in Peace Retro Frame Foil. That's a 2. Pack Rat in the Borderless this time. I love the art on this. It reminds me just reminds me of the Pickle Rick episode. That's a 2. Court of Calling, nice. Not a bad hit there. Good rare. That is a 3 for mana value. Court of Calling in the retro. And a Phyto Hydra. That is a 5. Creeping Chill. Actually, Retro Frame Full of Creeping Chill. Probably a few bucks. And nothing back there. All right, so what do we got going on? We have ourselves a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? 4, 7, 5, 12. Yep. All right. I would like to see some more Shocklands. I feel like it's time. Alice. We are on the low side of the Shockland count right now. But I have seen 3 Shockland packs as well. So here we go. Wow. All right, Alice. Got yourself a retro frame foil Steam Vents, and now you have yourself a borderless foil Steam Vents. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Followed by a Life from the Loam in the anime. That's very, very, very nice. I like that. That's a 2. Followed by a third Steam Vents. You're gonna try and get a playset here? Retro frame Steam Vents. Sure. And then a Void Slime in the back in the pack foil slot. That is a 3. Compulsive Research, Putrefy, Coiling Oracle, Gruul Signet. That will do it there. But plenty of goodies. Plenty of goodies. Wow. Okay. That's 5. That's pretty easy, right? 0, 0, 3, and 2, 5. That puts you at a 13, and your assault on the Steam Vent market, it continues. All right. Just bring us up to 4 shocks for the box, which is looking a little bit better. Vincent, back to you. Bottled Cloister Retro Frame Foil. That is a 4. Followed by a Massacre Girl in the anime. Very nice. That is a 5. Tolsimir Wolfblood. That is a 6. And a Quasi Duplicate, which is a 3. Retro Frame Foil is at Guildgate. Lightning Helix, Simic Guildgate. A Breeding Pool. There you go. There's one in the back. Again, that's about 1 per box. God, Breeding Pool just by itself, probably 15 to 20 bucks. Okay, so what do we got going on here? We have ourselves, that seemed to be a higher mana value pack, right? Save myself some trouble here. So 4 plus 6, that's 10, 13, 18, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14, 18 it is. Vincent, that takes you up to a 27 now as well. It does bring our shockland count up to 5, which is a respectable number heading into this last round. All right, so here it is. Ezra in the high with a 35. Steve and Vincent both in the hunt for the high with a 27. Alice all by her lonesome in the low with a 13 and a bevy of Steam Vents. Here we go. Last round, everybody. Good luck. Ezra, let's see if... I'd like to pull you. Let's see if we can pull a shotgun here. I would like that. However, that doesn't help your high, your quest for the high. So I don't know. Here we go. Start off with a Tajik Legion's Edge. That is a retro frame foil Tajik. That is a 3. Followed by a Kranko Mabos in the anime. That is a 4. Ooh, hey, retro frame Deathrite Shaman. Not a bad pull there. That is a 1 for mana value. And then a Copy Enchantment, which is a 3, followed by a Retro Frame Foil Simic Guildgate, Dimir Guildgate, and that will do it there. But let's see what we have going on here. 1, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 6, 10, 11 it is. Brings you up to a 46, which is a formidable number for the high. Steve. Spark Double Retro Frame Foil. That's not bad. That's a 4. Steve, you're chasing 19, so 20 to take over the slot for the high. That's a 4. There we go. Nice. Another red shockland. This time a borderless overgrown tomb. That is very nice. It's not going to help your quest for the high, but not a bad little consolation prize there. The Sword of Paruns as a 4. And a Semble, the Legion, which is a 5. Yep, that will leave you a little short of what is needed for the high. But again, borderless overgrown tomb, not a terrible consolation prize there. So here we go. 5, 9, 13, right? 4, 8... 8 plus 5, 13. Yep. Brings you to an even 40, which will not be good enough for the high and is unlikely to be good enough for the low. Is that I think that's 6 shocks in the box. All right. Alice, you have the low. Don't do anything crazy, and you're probably good there. And you have yourself 3 Steam Vents already. Okay. Void Slime in the Retro Frame foil. Well, there we go. So we're up to 7 shocks for the box, which is a really, that's the good part of average there, or maybe even slightly above average. A breeding pool, borderless breeding pool at that. Prime Speaker Zagana. And oh yeah, I almost forgot about the split cards. Man, these can be game changers. I do add up the mana values for both sides. So we have ourselves a 5, 6, 7. Unlikely to matter in this particular case, but Retro Frame foil, Farseek is not bad. And nothing in the back. We'll sleeve up the breeding pool. So 7 plus 6, 13, and 16 it is. Brings you to a 29, which is only 2 above Vincent with Vincent's last pack to go. So Vincent, here's the deal. You're only 2 below Alice. That seems unlikely. Or you need 20 to pass Ezra, which is not, which is a tall task, but not impossible. Here we go. Start off with a anime foil Massacre Girl. That is a 5 for mana value. Oh, Sacred Foundry. That is, I believe, our 8th shockland of the box. I borderless Sacred Foundry, so we are definitely above average on that. Unfortunately, it does not help your quest for overtaking Ezra. Mindleech Mass. Ooh, Mindleech Mass. That is a what, 8? Okay. 1 card to go. It is an Illusionist Bracers, which is actually not a bad little rare pull, but it, unfortunately will leave you a little short of the high. Demir Guildgate Retro Frame foil. Nice. Rhythm of the Wild Retro Frame, like that. And that will do it there. Well, that was not an unpleasant Ravnica Remastered box, now was it? Okay, so final, here, let's say 8, 10, 15. Puts you at a 42. So, final standings here. Ezra, you have the high with a 46. Steve, right behind with a 40. Alice in the low with a 29. And Vincent with a 42. Again, that was actually a lot of fun. They really did not skimp on the shocklands in this product. Man, oh man. Okay. Alice, you have the low, you have the honors. You have 4 shocklands to your name already. How will OTJ treat you? Start off with an Annie Joins Up and the Extended Art foil. That's not bad. Primal Might from the Breaking News slot. Commander is Elemental Eruption. I actually do like this card. Nice little storm card there. Bruce Tarl, Roving Rancher. And, oh, Tarnation Vista. Big scorecard. Tarnation Vista, pack foil. Not the most valuable, but also kind of like you kind of can't miss to a degree with big scorecards. Just nice to get one, right? All right. Ezra. You have the high. You led from start to finish, which is impressive. Come on. Start off with a Primal Might. Sure. Breaking News foil, Primal Might. Okay. Followed by a Surgical Extraction. Good card. Good utility card. Rumbleweed, if this was a battle. Mythic. Esoteric Duplicator. All right. Extended Art. Esoteric Duplicator. Big scorecard. That's actually not terrible. Like that. And another Mythic in the back. Sandstorm Salvager. So a couple of big scorecards. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Not the spiciest, like as far as the range on the big scorecards, but getting 2 in a pack, not terrible either. Well, there we go. That was our second edition of our Mastered and Remastered May. Ravnica Remastered, I feel like it delivered. We didn't really hit anything in the big on the mythics in terms of the animes, but hitting 8 shocks. Yeah, you got the retro frame foil in there, which is what you want to see. You got the one in the back, so. Yeah, not bad. That was a lot of fun. That's going to do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor. If you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button for me. Hit the like button for me. And by all means, drop me some comments. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much, everybody. And be well.